Hi everyone, Rudy here, and welcome to my channel. So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin today, because now that Russia has officially declared war on Ukraine, if you notice, the markets are really in a state of confusion right now. So we do need to dive into the charts just to see where we are, map all of the scenarios that are at play, so that we can prepare ourselves for any scenario that may take place moving forward. And let's dive in. So looking at the Bitcoin chart on a weekly time frame, as you can see, let's take the war out of consideration first. And let's just take a look at the charts for what they are, rather than overlaying all of the news and all of the information that, to be honest, is already reflected in the Bitcoin price action right here. So there are three key scenarios that may happen to Bitcoin moving forward. Two of them involve that this massive year between 2021 and most likely a huge chunk of 2022 is one massive corrective phase of a lengthened cycle. So this is your wave 1, this is your wave 2, this is your wave 3, and this particular region right here is a very complex wave 4 correction before our subsequent move to the upside. What is currently being established here are three scenarios. Scenario 1, and this is the most optimistic, is this is a running flat correction. You have the run-up right here, then the subsequent correction right here, another run-up for example, and the subsequent correction will not test these lows. So we are ultimately forming a higher low right here before our continuation to the upside. That is scenario number 1, and it is also the most bullish of the three that we will talk about. So scenario number 2, and this is what I believe in, although of course I could be absolutely wrong here, is we may experience an expanded flat. So an expanded flat is you have the run up right here, for example, then you establish a local low right here, then you breach this high right here, which did happen. So we did reach $69,000, which is above the 64. And this particular correction right here will breach these lows before the move to the upside. So the third one, of course, is we will capitulate from here and we will proceed to a bear market. Although when I say bear market, I don't mean a multi-year bear market. The more realistic scenario here is if we go into a bear market, it won't last as long as before because we have already gone through multiple corrective phases. So compared to the last cycle, for example, where it was really just one massive run-up once we breached certain monthly EMAs, because we have had multiple corrections along the way, if we were to further correct from here, then it won't take too long before the subsequent move to the upside. So without overlaying Russia, Ukraine, and the war and money printing, from a chart perspective, this is the current situation for Bitcoin. And it does affect, of course, the rest of the crypto markets. Because if we already bounce back from here, then expect that all of our cryptos will start recovering right now. If scenario 2 happens, where we have an expanded flat, we will breach these lows right here. And the scenario that we mapped out in the previous videos about Bitcoin, where we are aiming for around the $29,000 low, would coincide with the 1618 of this breach and structure right here. Because what's happening is you can define this as pretty much either an A, a B, and a C correction, for example, or another way to look at it is you have a 5-wave run up to the downside, where this is your wave 1 right here, this is your wave 2, this is the wave 3, this is a wave 4 correction to the upside, and we are still left with a subsequent wave 5 destination before we continue moving forward, hopefully to the upside. Another thing that adds to the confusion right here is when you just look historically at when we get rejected with key support levels, such as this one for example, it really does take a while, and Bitcoin would actually test a lower low right here, for example, before a subsequent test again of the bull market support band. And right now, you can already see the parallels, right? So this is, for example, the test. This candle test is pretty much this equivalent right here. We fell significantly after that retest. So we did fall significantly right here. And where are we? We are in a weekly relief rally, which is very equivalent to this particular weekly candle right here. After this, we did test our price levels a few more times, had sort of like a one last gasp or one last capitulation before our subsequent move to the upside. So given what we know now, how do you navigate a very tricky situation such as this one? Because to be honest, this situation is actually much more complicated than this situation. Because during the May to July capitulation, we all knew that we were due for a correction because of this massive run-up right here. So there was more confidence that you just really had to buy the dip here, and you were rewarded a few months down the line because you have quite a number of cryptos who rallied quite strongly due to this particular run-up right here. Where we are now is really more complicated. So So the way to navigate it will be quite tricky. So I won't tell you what to do, but I will tell you what I will be doing to navigate through this market just to see how I assess risk. So right now, given that we are still below our EMA structure right here, we know that any Bitcoin hiccup will result in alts shitting the bed quite hard. So it is actually really not advised to DCA into alts right now because the downside risk of any small capitulation by Bitcoin will really be felt, and the thing with alts, not all of them will recover to the same levels once we go back on an uptrend. So it's actually a very tricky proposition. So what I'm currently doing is, one, I'm only DCAing into Bitcoin right now. The more likely scenario in my perspective is we are due to lower lows, but anything can still happen. So the best DCA strategy, for example, is to really just put some on Bitcoin right now, because right now the risk levels of investing in Bitcoin are still pretty low at this particular price range anyway. And you may be wondering, what if we are just going on a running flat, for example, where this is actually already the low and we will continue from here? Then all the more that I will still continue to DCA just on Bitcoin right now, because if you notice, if we were going on a running flat, we are not that far off anyway from going above the EMA structure. So the most prudent thing to do, at least personally, is to just keep DCAing into Bitcoin, and once it goes above the EMA structure, then we would now consider all of the altcoins once again. And if we are really on a running flat and I'm wrong that we will not test lower lows again, then I know that any DCA into alts once Bitcoin is above this EMA structure would be a relatively safe position to take, even though we have missed the quote-unquote potential bottoms of the altcoins that we want to invest in. And there you go. It remains to be seen what's going to happen moving forward. Are we going to have a running flat? Are we going to have an expanded flat? Or is this really the end and we are going on a bear market where Bitcoin will be testing most likely the 20K levels, etc., etc.? If you like that video, hit like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you want me to make a video about your favorite gaming crypto? Be a Patreon subscriber so you can request for it. Being a Patreon subscriber helps keep the channel Sponsor, Shill, and Moonboy free. Take care everyone. Bye-bye.